Hello, everyone. Okay, so pardon noise. I had said this on my other channel, my last channel. Oops, something weird is happening with my computer. Okay, so I just left a live broadcast on my other channel. Now I'm over here on this channel because I wanted to touch base with you guys that are subscribed to this channel, the Achristopats Adventure and Homestead channel. So I know this was an impromptu thing video, but I've been very busy. But I did want to jump on here and tell you guys what we've been up to lately. So you saw, if you haven't, you should look at the last video that I did on this channel where Mr. Viking passed his civics exam with flying colors. And so the whole process of that exam for immigration is there are two tests. Each test is 100 questions. Depending on when you put in for your citizenship status, your citizenship determines which tests you're required to take. Um, I don't know which test he took because they wouldn't let me in the building. But anyway, and I did a video. I think I may have mentioned that in my last video. But anyway, um, he passed the test. You'll see that on the last video. And so the next step was to become a citizen by taking the oath, which he did not do that day. Okay, so you won't see that in that video because he didn't do it that day. They scheduled him for a different day to do that. So um, anyway, it's 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 been a long road. It's been a long road, and unfortunately, when he first put in for his citizenship, the country was not in the condition that it's in now. This was 3 years ago. It was pre-pandemic. It was before all of this craziness started going on. So anyway, so I wanted to touch base with everybody, tell you how we've been doing, what we've been doing, and talk about future plans and things, and just wanted to give you some things to think about in regard to your future. Um, Considering how things are now, um, we have Americans that were literally abandoned, a couple thousand in Afghanistan, abandoned by our government, and which is really really sad. I pray for them that they will be able to get out safely. There are private organizations that are helping to try to go in and get them out of there, so they don't lose their heads, literally. Um, and I'm sorry about the noise. Mr. Viking's outside working on some stuff. So if you hear all that noise or whatever, then that's what that is. He's running the saw. I just want to make sure the chat's working. Okay. What else have we been up to? Well, we got a call from Department of Transportation that wanted to know if we wanted a driveway. I'm like, we could use a driveway. So they are putting in a driveway 24 feet wide because of our RV and only 6 feet deep. Now we're 75 feet from the curve. So, but when we have to move the RV again, there's like a slight drop off between the land and the street. And so this will help smooth that out. So we got a call from a lady that lives here in town, and she wanted to know if we wanted to have it done. And we were like, yes. And the guy says, you have to sign the permit. We came all the way out here from the city, took us about an hour to sign the permit that he forgot to bring. The guy from Department of Transportation forgot to bring the permit. So anyway, But they're going to go ahead and do it anyway. And I guess he'll catch up with us the next time we come to town or come out here to the country, and we'll have to sign it then because I'm not going to make another special trip because he forgot. So, so that's happening. Also, in a video, previous video that we did, Mr. Viking was, I don't know if I've done the video yet. It might be in the queue. Anyway, we were insulating the inside. You guys saw the video where I shampooed the carpet and my shampooer broke right when I got finished. I think Mr. Viking fixed it, but I'm probably just going to go ahead and get another one because I've had that one for like 13 years. It doesn't owe me anything. And it was just a small little shampooer, but it's perfect for the size of the RV. It gets the job done. So, but the handle came loose, and the handle controls a lot of stuff on there, so it was kind of weird. Anyway, I might just go ahead and order a different one. But we're coming around the time of year where people's packages are getting stolen off of their porches and stuff. So I don't order anything anymore unless I know I'm going to be there to get the package. And they've been pretty good about it. You know, if they have to deliver something, they'll ring the bell or they'll knock on the door and drop the package off and leave. And that way, if I'm in the kitchen or something, then and I hear that, then I know they left a package on my front porch, and I just go get it. So that's not a problem. Anyway, we got the inside done as far as insulating. The dash is covered in plastic, and then we've got a big blanket and a couple other blankets thrown on top of the plastic. The curtains are drawn, the reflectix is up to keep the cold away, and the slide outs are taped off. We use clear tape, and we just go over top of the slide out all the way around to the on the floor and up the sides. We just tape it off with clear tape to keep the draft off. So Mr. Viking is outside. He's making a frame uh, that's going to butt up against the bottom of the coach. And around that, we bought some new reflectix. It's a new grade of it too. That's going to go on that wood. He's going to screw it onto the wood, and then we're going to use those noodles they call them, or pipe insulators, that foam, hard foam that we're going to put on top to have that up against the coach rather than trying to use tape. Because over time, the tape just starts to mess with the paint. And I'm not going to have a paint job done on this coach. Um, so the coach is in pretty decent shape. Mr. Viking had to once a month, twice a month, we try to start the generator with a load on it, meaning we turn the generator on and then we'll have the an electric heater running, or we'll have an air conditioner running, something like that to put stress on the generator to keep it in good shape. We don't use it. I mean, we really don't use it because we have power out here. If we lose power, then we can use it, but we've never lost power since we've been out here. So, but we still want to keep the generator in good condition in the event a storm or something comes through here and knocks the power out. Our refrigerator will still run if we need, it'll run anyway on the propane. But if we need to do anything that requires power, we have the generator. So we try to keep it in good condition. Well, Mr. Viking went to go turn it on like we usually do, and we found out that we had a gas leak from a hose that carries the gas. So he replaced that, and that's fine. Cleaned up the gas. I hope everything's fine out there. But occasionally you may hear a power saw because he's out there making that frame. So what else have I been up to? Well, um, I've been working on natural remedies because I want to get away from pharmaceuticals. A lot of pharmaceuticals are poison, and I just want to get away from it. I don't want to be in a position where I'm dependent upon certain medications to be able to survive. So I'm looking into alternative things. using more garlic, things that I can grow myself, more herbal remedies that I can grow myself, maybe in my backyard or in a flower pot or whatever. And I wanted to suggest that you guys look to do the same thing. I was mentioning on my other channel about how the generations coming behind us were born in the technological age. They don't know how to do anything except turn on a computer. They know how to turn on a computer. They don't know how to tell time on an analog clock. They don't know how to It's a lot they don't know how to do. Uh they don't know how to preserve food in the event they lost their refrigeration, or if their power went out in their refrigerator or their freezer. They don't know how to preserve their food. They would just lose everything. And so now this is not something that I learned from my mother either. Uh, if the power went out, we just didn't, nobody went in the refrigerator. Don't open the door. Nobody went in the refrigerator unless they absolutely had to. And hopefully the power would come back on soon. And that way we would preserve the food. We didn't have a lot of power outages when I was younger, but we did have some sometimes. And the power could be out for, a few hours, 2 or 3 hours. I've never had a power outage in the house that I live in now. Um, anyway, so, but the generations coming behind us now, there's stuff they just don't know how to do. And they're not interested in learning. So, if you live in an apartment that's all electric, and your power goes out, you are in a mess because you don't know how to preserve your food without electricity. You can't do it. You can't run your stove. If it happens in the wintertime, you will not have heat. And so there's alternate things that you can do to prepare for those kinds of things, especially if you're in an area where it is subject to natural disasters, a lot of power outages or floods or whatever, where they may want you to leave. Do you have a bag in your car? Do you have a tent, a small tent that you could sleep in as a shelter temporarily? Do you have blankets? Do you have a first aid kit? Things like this. Do you have extra water in your car or in your house? You might not necessarily want to keep it in your car if it's in the wintertime because it could freeze, but do you have it in your house where you can put it in your car if you need to? Is your tank filled up? Do you have an extra gas can in your car in the event you have to travel? Because right now we've got two nations that are very hostile toward us, that were held at bay under the last administration. And now with this administration, yeah, they're looking to take us over. So, how would you take care of yourself if you had to leave all of a sudden? Or if you don't have to leave, right? If you're not in a situation where the electricity goes out or whatever, or if you are, how do you keep yourself warm if your apartment or your house is completely electric? How do you keep yourself warm in the wintertime? So you need to think about stuff like that. In the summertime you'd be having to think differently, but because we're going into winter, we're already in fall, then you need to be thinking about, if the power goes out, if our grid gets hit by a hostile nation, then how would I keep myself warm? How would I prepare food? How would I be able to eat if my apartment is completely electric? Let me tell you, here's a reality. If a hostile nation decided it wanted to take down our power grid, which is not very protected at all, then gasoline pumps will stop working, cash registers will stop working, airplanes will not work. Your stove is not going to work. Your heater is not going to work if it's electric. Your refrigerator is not going to work. Your freezer is not going to work. None of this stuff. Your clocks won't work. Your car won't work. Okay, nothing is going to work. We're going to be back in the dark ages. So, how did they live? What did they do? How did they preserve themselves? And so, you need to be thinking like that, because I think, here in America, we've had the illusion of security for decades. And it hasn't occurred to anyone that we may not be as secure as we thought. It may not have occurred to anyone that the government's job is to keep you in the dark about what's really going on. Because number one, they don't want to be overthrown. Number two, they don't want a mass panic on their hands, right? Unless it suits them, then of course they'll keep pumping up the hype to get you all upset and have you in fear all the time and all this kind of stuff. So, in regard to medications, they can't dispense your medication, right? Because that's usually done by machine too. So, what would you do if you couldn't get your medications? How would you survive? How would you live? So, you need to be thinking about alternative ways of living so that you're not dependent upon the government, you're not dependent upon pharmaceutical companies, you're not dependent upon anyone for anything. Now, that's not to say that you would not need a hand from someone from time to time, but your whole existence would not depend upon somebody giving you a handout or somebody, and some people just think they're just entitled to live off of everybody else. And yeah, good luck with that. But anyway, especially in a grid down situation, I got news for you. You are nobody's priority, okay? You can forget that. You are not anybody's priority. So, I mean, unless it's your spouse, and hopefully, and you better hope that you're their priority then. Or, unless you're somebody's child, yeah, you're nobody's priority. So, the government, they ain't coming. They're not coming to help you. They're not coming to help you. If they were coming to help you, or if they wanted to help you, the borders wouldn't be wide open in what they call the middle of a pandemic. That's what they say. They say we're in the middle of a pandemic, and yet the borders are open and nobody required that's coming through to be vaccinated. So there's that. Anyway, let that hit you. So that's how much they love you and care about you, and following the science because it's all for your safety. Anyway, let me not go there. So, you guys do whatever you want to do in regard to your health. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I am trying my best to move away from any pharmaceuticals that I have as far as me taking them. Now, there may be other people who might need an aspirin or a Tylenol or something like that. Uh, I'm preferring not to use that stuff unless I absolutely have to while I'm transitioning off of pharmaceuticals, right? So, for example, hawthorn is a diuretic, and it's a natural diuretic. It's a berry, it grows on a tree, and it is known to lower blood pressure. So, I'm making some. Um, I had some hawthorns, and I am making a tincture for myself. And I tried some the other day, and it did drop my blood pressure like 20 points. I was like, I felt really, really tired. So the thing that I have to learn is how to adjust it to my particular body where it doesn't drop my pressure too quickly, um, and make me sick, right? Because it is a medicine. It's just that it's a natural medicine. And I have to figure out the dose for me. A tincture is very concentrated. It's not like, you mixed it in a whole gallon of water. This is something that you take by the dropper, maybe 10 drops under the tongue, something like that. Well, I was in the process of trying it out, and I had a little bit left in the bottom of a glass that I strained out because I wanted to taste it and see how it tasted, and I thought it's not ready yet. I just want to see how it tastes. And it was maybe a half a shot glass. Yeah, that was too much. So that was too much. That was more than 10 drops, and I won't do that again. So I was very, very tired. I haven't stopped taking my medication, but what happens is if you're taking medication and you start taking natural remedies, you really have to be very careful, um, because it can supercharge the medications that you're on, or it can cause them to not work at all. So, so I'm just saying, now I'm not a doctor, I'm not a naturopath doctor, none of that. That's my disclaimer. I'm just telling you what I've been doing. and what I did the other day. So, anyway, just wanted to hop on here, tell you guys what I've been up to, what we've been up to, because it had been a while since I did a live video. There is or a live, yeah, live chat, but there is a video coming out Friday. Make sure you catch it. It'll be the final step in Mr. Viking's citizenship pursuit, and we'll be turning the chapter on a turning the page on another chapter of our lives. So anyhow, make sure you catch this live stream if you're not catching it now, which you're not. And I will see you guys the next time I come on. Keep tripping.